Welcome to the Altcoin Hour, your weekly alpha. Yeah, we breaking down the charts, flipping bags, playing smart, from the dips to the moon shots, connecting all the dots. Let's get it. Altcoin Hour.
Mic check. Welcome to the show, guys. Hope everybody's doing very well. We are about to definitely get into a lot. The music is super duper. Well, let me go ahead and cut this down. Again, hand clap to you guys. I had to cut that music down. It was a little bit too loud. We got a lot of stuff to get into today. We're gonna really dive into the Clarity Act because that's pretty much the subject, and we're gonna get into some coinage as well, altcoin news, insights, market insights. We do see Bitcoin doing the dance essentially. Not good news coming out of Japan as well when it comes to those interest rates. LMFG, are you with us, brother? Welcome to the show. I got to give you a hand clap for my compadre here.
Yes, I am. Good news.
Yeah, man, let me out.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Yeah, I think that check your mic, brother. Do a mic check one more time. Make sure we got you, because I want to make sure we're clear.
Yeah,
got you. Well, right. It's a lot of the Japan thing is very disturbing to me because that is going to affect not only the cryptocurrency market, as we're about to get into the countdown, and the carry trade situation is going to be dismantled, and they're talking about it going from 100 to 150 basis points within a 12-month period. We do have another cut, a hike, I'm sorry, with that particular BOJ rate. You got Ripple moving in there too, LMFG. Did you see Ripple making a strong move into Japan as well? I think that may be bad timing, but when it comes to the interest rate hike in Japan, that's going to really shake up a lot of things next year, and they're not going to hit the brakes on that. They're going to continue to do that throughout 2026, and I think the actual ceiling is going to be 150 basis points. We talked about this, brother. What's your take on that? Because that's a pretty good hike in rates, especially where they are, and we just got that rate from the BOJ, but that is going to affect trade big time across the board. What's your take on that before we get knee deep into the show?
Yeah, you got to pull a lot of monies out. I think everybody's going to be, I don't know, they're going to go into the metals, not to this high, or the bonds.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's it proved to be interesting.
No,
And at the same time, like you said, the Ripple's doing a bunch of stuff over there. I believe this collaboration between Cardano and Ripple is getting a little closer. I mean, I think a lot of things are going to happen fast. We'll see.
Yeah, I believe so.
You know me, optimistic, man, rock and roll with this stuff.
Yeah, that is very true. We got to be optimistic. I think when it comes to, it's so hard when you're looking at the data, man, to be optimistic, but you have to, right? I mean, the actual ETF inflows, it was well over $400 million. We're at within a 24-hour period when it comes to ETF outflows, they are flowing out the door. The only one, and I'll probably get into that, the only one that I really think that's going to make it out of this, because there's a self-custody aspect to it, is Fidelity. I think they're probably going to make the most money going into 2026 because of that self-custody factors. A lot of you probably don't know, and if you are entering that particular vehicle for investment, Fidelity is probably a good way to go because it's a self-custody ETF. So just in case you didn't know that, negative $28 million. Let's go and say negative $38 million out the door. When it comes to ETFs, inflows, it's a negative situation. So we're still bleeding there at MFG. The TVL, total TVL, still down below 1%. So we're at 0.17% on a negative level with DeFi. And we're going to be getting into who made money in 2025 LMFG. We're going to be looking into the sectors, into who actually made money in 2025. We're talking protocol revenue, essentially, issuance revenue, who really topped off. Who are the developers, or who are the said protocols that are the king of the crops when it comes to making money in the space? So we'll get into that because I think that's very interesting, what I actually discovered. And it's probably not going to shock, a lot of you guys who made the most money, but the actual protocol sector that actually overtook it going into the last fourth quarter of this year, That's the interesting part when it comes to who overtook it, because the king of the hill, actually that revenue subsided. And then you have this overtaking of the hill. And we'll get into who did that, because it's a combination of a number of protocols that make up this particular sector. But I think it's interesting to get into who really made money. What sector in crypto actually made the most revenue? And going forward, is that going to be a continuing trend? We don't know, but it's a lot to get into today. We're going to get into a new crypto scam too. It's a WhatsApp based, and it does move into your social based activity as well. We'll get into that because the SEC just released a pretty damning report on how these scams are taking place step by step, and we'll get into it so we can kind of give you a beware type of revenants, give you kind of like an awareness factor when it comes to this particular scam, because it's I wouldn't say it's pig butchering, but it's pretty nasty, and people are losing millions of dollars, and we got to talk about it, unfortunately. So I don't know if LMFG, the crypto scam thing, let's go ahead and get into this news report. But the crypto scam thing is crazy, bro. It just keeps developing into a nasty monster, I will say. I don't know if you've ever been involved with one of those or been caught up with one of those. I know some people who got caught up with a lot of pig butchering, a lot of phishing that ended up taking a lot of their money. And I think as an investor, I think you should be very aware of what's going on with that. What's going on, Benji? Welcome to the show, Paul Chain fam. Let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start with Bitcoin, and we're going to get into a lot of these crazy predictions, because you see Tom Lee, his Ethereum firm is bottom up. He's spiraling out of control, but I'm going to get into some 2026 predictions from not only Tom Lee, which are preposterous, but we have some, I think it's Sean Farrell. We'll get into that. Even Brad Garlinghouse has a wacky prediction going into 2026 when it comes to Bitcoin. And XRP as well, which I was kind of shocked that he actually spoke on that. JP Morgan, we'll look at those predictions because I think it's relevant when we're looking at Bitcoin that's sitting comfortably at $88,000. LMFG, we've talked about the movement of Bitcoin and where we're going as we're pulling up the chart here. And we're just kind of zoning on December because it's been pretty volatile. It's been a very volatile shitcoinish movement when it comes to Bitcoin. The market makers are doing market maker things. And in fact, we're going to be looking at a report about manipulation and about a lot of the actual market makers. They're being caught red-handed. Literally, guys, manipulating the situation. And we have CZ. Every time this happens, it seems like CZ, puts a tweet out telling us everything is okay, guys. Don't worry about it. Everything is okay. Bitcoin's going to, amazing heights. Everything is good. He seems to be right on time, LMFG, with those tweets when Bitcoin plummets. And I'm not talking about a catastrophic crash point. These market makers do their thing. When the manipulation is so obvious, it seems like CZ is the first to tweet. It's pretty interesting. What's your take on that? Am I going too far on that? I don't know.
No, and he's just involved in so much stuff too that we don't even know about. You know what I mean? Like most people didn't even know that Trust Wallet was his. Yeah,
absolutely.
And he's probably got a bunch of these AMMs running himself. There could be 1,000 of them. You know what I mean? It's not 22 machines. Crazy.
Yeah, it's just very interesting. I laugh every time I say it. I haven't seen Michael Saylor tweet in a while. Have you seen Saylor tweet in a while? I haven't seen him tweet in a while. It's kind of interesting. It's been a while. Well, he was very active until Bitcoin started doing the Y2C, and then he kind of disappeared. But we'll just see how that is. Now, 88,000. This is what's going on with Bitcoin. I want to actually get into this article about these crazy predictions because we're going to see this volatile nature in Bitcoin. We're going to see the ups and downs until we get proper passage of the crypto legislation everybody's waiting on, the Clarity Act, and we're waiting on market structure bill, which the Clarity Act is going to be the actual checkered flag, if you will, when it comes to the institutions, when it comes to a lot of businesses too that are waiting on this. There's going to, and by the way, I want to tell you guys this is not, nobody's talking about the external factors here. In the external actual extension of cryptocurrency in brick and mortar. I was reading a very interesting article about this, and I never thought about this. Can you imagine not only a Bitcoin bank, but department stores that are geared for cryptocurrency adoption as well? And I mean, literally decentralized applications in real life on the corner, just like banks, but they're not banks. They're DApps. They're physical brick and mortar DApps. Have you ever thought about that, LMFG?
Yeah, by all means, man. That's why I see this coming. This technology is just gonna change everything. Even the MasterCards and Visas are gonna get hit.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. You know, I'm reading this article. I'm like, this is crazy, because we do see DApps in this space. We see these decentralized applications that are all over on chain, right? But these are little businesses. These DApps are making money, and they're being coded by developers. There are developers behind it. Welcome to the show, Rated. And by the way, guys, there's a link. If you want to come on stage, you don't have to do any video. You can just do audio. Click the link up top, set your link up, and then you can join the discussion. And you can join me and LMFG as we talk about these things. It's right up top. Just click that. Literal brick and mortar DApps on the corners. It's very interesting, and you're going to be able to use these DApps not only for RWA trading, but commodities trading as well, stocks, things of that nature. But just imagine you can walk in and buy a house in one of these DApp brick and mortar stores. Pretty interesting. And I'm going to do another standalone video on that, just to actually break this down, because I thought it was crazy. That type of expansions are going to be crazy. You're going to have, it's kind of like fintech versus walking into a brick and mortar. Your banking app versus walking into the brick and mortar. You're going to have that symbiotic relationship, not only with the decentralized applications, but these marketplaces too, these RWA marketplaces. I think they're going to have brick and mortar extensions in the real world outside of the space. So this is where we're headed. This is a very exciting time to be alive. I'm not even joking. It's very scary at the same time as well, because things are changing. You had Donald Trump as well. Nice video about the actual structure of finance changing, giving the green light for everything to basically go on chain, which is going to be pretty damn cool going into 2026. But we got to have the legislation. And I think I have that video. I think I have that video still. I had it bookmarked up. I want you to see this, because I thought this was really cool. And this is where we're headed. Yeah, I got it right here. Let's go ahead and switch to this.
Behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after?
And I'm going to run it again, because I want you guys to hear this, because this is where we're headed. We still need language. And I think he's going to executive order some things too. Within the next 48 hours, he was supposed to be saying we should get some announcements. I don't know if it's going to be about this, but I think, and we'll get into why the Clarity Act is basically, we don't know where we're going to get it. We'll get into what's going on there, but I want you to listen to the chart one more time with this, and we'll expand on this.
Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after many?
Now, we had the choke point, which has been extinguished, right? LMFG, you know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about a lot of the financial infrastructure, the antiquated infrastructure. Swift is actually trying to renew itself. It's trying to reconfigure itself, right? They're using blockchains like Canton, which is a pretty interesting situation, because that is going to be used for the rehauling of the financial infrastructure as well. Just found that out. I didn't even know that. I just found that out today. And that blockchain infrastructure has been in the space for some time. But you do have the introduction of on-chain activity in the facilitators. LMFG, there are a number of them that just came into fruition this year. like Undo. You have Monad, and you have some that are going to be coming that aren't even deployed yet in 2026. A lot of these are going to be geared to facilitating exactly what he's talking about, the reconfiguration, the rebirth of our financial networks, LMFG. Does Swift completely go away, though? This is the thing, because I know they're really trying profusely to reinvent Swift, that infrastructure, but do we really need it, LMFG? Because this is happening pretty quick.
Right. I believe that I can see them transitioning. I can see Swift surviving and transitioning. They just got a lot of work to do. They will lose a lot in between. But again, I keep saying this, there's going to be so much need for a few different changes, and maybe a couple of dozen. The data that's coming into blockchain is going to be off the wall. That's just my outlook of it. It's like I keep saying, every barcode is going to be a freaking NFT.
Yeah, that's the way it's looking too, bro.
The tracking. I mean, dive into VeChain and see where their mindset is. It's pretty wild. I just think it's just so much. It's so vast. You know, everybody's complaining now. Oh, J.P. Morgan's going to build their own chain. Was it BIS is thinking about building their own? And my buddy's like, well, it's just going to do to XRP. I said, it's not going to matter. They'll use that just for their partners. And then they'll still need to get out onto the outside world, whether it be retail, whether it be a brick and mortar store, or an actual person just purchasing something. There's going to be the need for all of these different chains.
You're going to need more than one. That's exactly what was said on CNBC recently.
And the different protocols running on the chains, and they have to all be interoperable. If you're not interoperable, you are going to have an issue, and you're not going to make it, I say. And it's still years down the road, buddy. I'm telling you, by the time this all cuts through. And one thing, I did want to make a comment with that video with Trump at that end when he goes, who would have thought 2 years, it should have been, who would have thought this happening a year and a half after my boys released the Trump and Melania coins.
Well, you know what, Charles Hoskinson, by the way, Charles is leaving X, Hoskinson, the 88 creator, Cardano CEO, the chief in charge. He's leaving X, man. And we may get into his post, because what he said was pretty interesting. And he's tired of the bullies. He's tired of the trolling. He's tired of people calling him fat. He's tired of it. So he's retreating to his Discord. And if he said, this is where I'm going to be. We're going to concentrate on midnight. And he says he's going to automate his 1 million follower account, the Cardano, the Hoskinson account. He's going to automate it. He said he's done. We may get into that. But did you see that? I thought that was pretty interesting.
No, I didn't.
You didn't? We got to get into it. Yeah, I don't know what pissed him off, but he's retreating to Discord and YouTube now. He's done with X. He said he's so done. He says, and we'll read it. We'll probably get into that. Berkshire Hathaway. So, you know, Warren Buffett, he already, and then again, Warren has moved into different currencies recently, which I kind of question him going into the yen as he has so heavily because of the actual conditions over there in Japan. But when you see this guy move mounds, convert so much money, and he will not convert to gold, which is weird to me. Not heavily, but he's not a gold fan, and he's not a fan of Bitcoin as well. But when you see what he's doing, and then the Berkshire Hathaway basically giving it up, he sold it. Now he's not the CEO. He's moving completely away from that. This is kind of scaring a lot of the people who follow, Warren. And we talk about the Buffett meter. That particular algorithm that he uses, it's screaming. LMFG, this is starting to move mountains here, and we got the announcement of his complete separation of BH, Berkshire Hathaway. I know my boy Raider, he follows Buffett as well. A lot of people follow the movements of Warren Buffett. The movements are very bearish, is what I'm trying to say, guys. Now, as far as crypto, it doesn't really correlate because there's other factors. As we look at Bitcoin, $88,000, and we're going to get to these crazy predictions too going into 2026 here briefly. But your take, man, on Buffett's movements, he is sending a dire message when it comes to what he's converting. What is it converting a lot of his holdings? He has bought some stock recently too as well, but they're in weird sectors. What is he doing, bro? Have you been watching Warren? He's a little weird,
Yeah, I seen him buying into the yen when the yen is going down, and it looks like it's ready. I thought it was ready to disappear. I don't know what's going to happen there. He knows something. This guy always knows something. You know what I mean? You look at his track record. So I don't know. It's baffling to me. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's it's definitely baffling. By the way, the stock market numbers. Let's go ahead and go through here. Let's go ahead and check out these. Check out the stock market before we get to this Bitcoin predictions. Now, these are crazy predictions. I don't think any of these are going to come true, but we're going to get to it. S&P 500, 6,900. That was going to be last. The change is a negative 1%, guys. 1.18 actually. It keeps moving pretty quickly. I'm not concerned about it, but a lot of people are. Dow Jones, 48,000. I think you said, what was your prediction on the Dow a couple of days ago? We were talking about it.
No, I said this, the S&P 500 hitting 7,000.
There you go, S&P 5. Yeah. Well, you got it. You got it very briefly. Dow Jones 48,000. Nasdaq down almost 8 points there. It's not too bad. What I'm looking at is the actual bond movement. That's what I look at. And I look at the Nikkei too as well, which is doing pretty damn good. And that's because they're going to be raising the rates even more. They like that over there. We hate it because it's decimating the carry trade. Mag 7 is doing Mag 7 things. Nvidia is down slightly. Tesla's up. Apple's doing this thing. Google's up. And the Mag 7 is doing Mag 7 things. But these bonds is what I like to look at. And you are seeing a robust movement upward, unfortunately, with the 10-year and the 30-year. 30 years getting really, really close to 5. We don't like that. 10-year is it's marching back upward. We don't want these to be in the green, essentially. That affects mortgage rates. That affects a lot of the actual borrowing and lending, those particular fees that are involved there. Actually, there's been a bifurcation from the 10-year indications and the mortgage rates. They seem to be moving asymmetrically. The divergence is there because you have a lot of people that are essentially self-financing their properties now, and they're buying down these rates. So the 10-year doesn't really matter. I'm seeing rates at around 3.5 when it comes to real estate on a private level. And I'm talking builders that are financing their own. They're bypassing the banks, LMFG. They're buying down these rates to 3.5, giving people fixed rates. I mean, this is, but the properties, they're not going down on the price of the property. So there's a sector there that is struggling, as well as defaults. And that's kind of affecting buyership. Now, the institutions are keeping Bitcoin, as we get back to Bitcoin here. They're keeping Bitcoin at 88,000 at this point in time. We're talking ETFs, institutions, but they need that checker flag when it comes to crypto legislation. They're not getting it. Maybe not even going to get it until 2027, which is extremely bearish. And we'll get into that report. Let's get into these actual predictions, and I want to see if you guys actually agree with this, because I think they're kind of bonky. Bitcoin in 2026. First of all, LMFG, before we get into these crazy predictions, what's your prediction for 2026? And I'm talking, let's not go too far. Let's go as far as the third quarter, 2026. What's your predictions?
I say as long as that Clarity Act gets approved, I think that's where the explosion of the funds are going to come into this thing as a whole. And that's where you'll see Bitcoin explode from wherever it is. And right now, I'm telling you, this is crazy. As we expected this thing to hit down to 75, 70 grand. And boom, it went right up to almost 100 or 90 again. You know what I mean? Yeah,
this weekend, 90.
Yeah. It just, the manipulation is just off the wall.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
The technology is the future. So it's just a matter of time. And I really do believe you'll see that $7 to $10 trillion in the cryptography as a whole of all crypto. Once you give it 3 to 6 months after the Clarity Act.
Yeah, that's if we get it. The market makers are doing some nasty stuff, man. And we're going to be getting into an article that just pretty much just puts it all out there, which is very unfortunate because what's happening. I mean, is it something that's just going to happen? I mean, it's part of the game. This is what I'm getting. This is the feedback I'm getting. It's not going to go away. It's part of the game. It's part of the game. I don't tend to agree with that rhetoric, but I think we could do it without that game playing. But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but we also have this today. It already is there on the stock market. I mean, you get these guys come in, big enough money comes in, and they short the hell out of something, and they wipe a company out.
Yep.
A bunch of guys get rich. Yay! Look at that. Just to go back to GameStop, and all those rich guys that wanted to take GameStop out, they lost their shirts from a bunch of college kids. College kids throughout the country, probably the world. It was amazing.
I remember that.
You have it today. I just don't. It's not seen as much. You know what I mean?
I don't think people know how to identify it.
Paying attention to it, they don't care.
Yeah, you got a lot of people that don't really know what it looks like, and they don't know what to look at. We're gonna talk about it because it's crazy, and I don't think these guys care. They don't even care that you know about it. I mean, as long as CZ comes out and says everything is okay, guys, they continue to do what they're gonna do. It's really wacky what's going on, but these predictions. Let's get into it. From $10K to $250,000. Where crypto bulls C and BTC heading? Now, remember when the billionaire venture capitalist Chamath, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this last name. Let's call it Mr. P. Made his $500,000 Bitcoin by October 2025 prediction on the All In podcast. That was a swing and a miss, LMFG. We're not getting there. We're so far from $500,000. Now, after a string of high-profile forecasts proved inaccurate in 2025, confidence in Bitcoin target price narratives have essentially faded. Welcome to the show, Jay. I don't see it very much, but at the same time, Tim Lee is still doing Tim Lee things. Right. He's still doing Tim Lee things. I don't think his prediction for Ethereum is, I think he says $65,000. Are you kidding me? This is what these guys are doing. They're just spreading all this false hope. Now, let's continue because we're going to see a lot of more false hope when it comes to these. These are unbelievable predictions. Wu Blockchain compiled the core conclusions behind this or these forecasts, is revealing that just how wide the disagreement is from six-figure upside driven by ETFs and institutional demand to catastrophic downsides tied to macro tightening and technical breakdowns. Now, I do believe the ETFs and the institutions, once we do get the Clarity Act, because that's what they're waiting on. I think they're going to flood in LMFG. I think they're going to send the ETF vehicles to the moon once they do get that, actual clarity. But when are we going to get it? We're going to get into that. Now, here's a breakdown of all of the crazy ones. Now, Tom Lee, 200,000 to 250,000. Now, he's the chair of BitMine, which is underwater right now, big time. He has repeatedly argued that Bitcoin could reach $200,000 to $250,000 by the end of 2026. So he's moved the goalpost, guys, from 2025. Didn't work out this year, so he's going to move it into 2026. Now, it's going to be predominantly, driven by expanding institutional allocations, obviously, and structural inflows from spot ETFs, obviously. He believes institutional participation may fundamentally alter Bitcoin's traditional market cycles. Do you agree, LMFG, with Tom Lee? We'll get to Sean Farrell's because I think his is more doable, maybe more accurate, unfortunately. Do you agree with Tom Lee, the BitMine situation is so underwater. His Ethereum forecast was so bad. Do we trust this guy? We talked about Kathy Lee's predictions for 2.5 million a year ago, which was preposterous. What's your take on Tom Lee's predictions?
Yeah, I don't see that in a year. And again, we'll have to see when that Clarity Act gets done, how bad is it? How many chains are going to have to fold once that thing comes out? And, you can have a lot of collaboration by then. It's already starting. So I'm not sure, man. Maybe not that high, but like I said, once that Clarity Act goes, I do see, where we're at 3 trillion right now, easy 4 trillion coming into this as a whole. Where does that leave Bitcoin at that time?
Yeah.
We'll see, $1.50, $1.75. Like 3 to 6 months after the Clarity Act gets approved. And if it's not there after that, then we may all been missing something.
you have a lot of and specifically Bitwise managers that are really explaining how important the Clarity Act truly is. I want you guys to listen to this right quick.
It's hard for crypto to rally. I think if you
I'm gonna run it back. And this is basically Bitwise CIO basically explaining how important. Welcome to the show, Mom. Hope you're doing great today. Well, today, this is how important this is, and you know, it's a big wall that's in place right now for these managers. They can't really go all in. This is how important it is.
I think Clarity is like the Puxatawny Phil of crypto of this winter. I think if Clarity doesn't pass, it's going to push us into a deeper, it's going to be hard for crypto to rally. I think if you do see it pass, that's probably something like the all clear signal on this pullback, and we could see, I think, most assets, and particularly ETH and Solana and others, move to all-time highs.
Right.
So he's saying ETH and Solana. I'm talking pretty much every altcoin that's going to be involved in a vehicle.
I don't think anything came up.
No, it was just audio. It was just audio. Did you hear the audio?
No, I did not.
Hold on. You know what? Hold on. Yeah, you're right. It did not come up. Hold on. Let me get this up because you guys got to hear this. It really tells you how important this truly is. All right, so listen to this, guys. Hopefully you can hear it now.
I think Clarity is like the Puxatawny Phil of crypto of this winter. I think if Clarity doesn't pass, it's going to push us into a deeper, it's going to be hard for crypto to rally. I think if you do see it pass, that's probably something like the all clear signal on this pullback, and we could see, I think, most assets, and particularly ETH and Solana and others, move to all-time highs.
Right.
And I think all altcoins. Did you guys get that? Hopefully they came through.
Yeah, that was good.
So this is you know, the CIO of Bitwise. It was a pretty large situation. They're waiting on this clarity, along with pretty much all the fund managers, ETF, and institutions as well. This is very important, guys. The Clarity Act is so important, and a lot of big players are just continually waiting on this. And Congress they're dragging their feet. It's unfortunate, and I know it's very complicated. We need this Clarity Act. The market structure bill can wait. We need, and they fast tracked the Genius Act because of the conditions that the Treasury bonds are in. People were selling them and nobody was buying them. The co-op didn't go very well. So they needed the Genius Act to go through really, really quick so they can route some of those treasuries into these stablecoins activities. Totally get that. That was the genius part of the Genius bill. But the Clarity bill, I thought it's more important. Just as you heard one of the fund managers, they're waiting on this, guys. Once that happens, you're going to see altcoins completely erupt. You're going to see a lot of these ETF baskets that are waiting, that are stakeable. They're going to completely erupt, right? And it's going to send a lot of these coins. And you mentioned Solana and ETH. Not only that, but all of the altcoins that are involved here. Your HBARs, your ADAs, your links, your AVAXs, your XLMs, all your ISO, compliant ones, essentially. XRP, BNB, all of those top 25s, Polkadot, all of those that are going to be, and I have a list of those too that are going to launch in 2026. We'll probably get into that. There are some that you probably don't even know about. ICP. These are going to erupt because they're actually going to be available, and a lot of these institutions are not going to be afraid of listing them within these baskets, right? Let's see. Dustin says, whether we like it or not, Bitcoin is going to the 70s. Here, you know what? It's interesting that you said that, Justin, because Sean Farrell here's his prediction. It's kind of around what you're talking about here. This FundStrat's head of digital asset strategy, which is going to be Sean Farrell, warned clients that a sharp pullback could occur in early 2026. I believe this too as well. This is where I'm at. With BTC potentially falling or catastrophically failing to reach 150K, he's saying it's going to fall all the way to 60K. My floor is 55. I've told you this, guys, all year long, 55. Now he's saying 60,000 to 65,000 before actually resuming a higher standpoint or a higher ceiling. Farrell also emphasized the differences in the time horizons. Lee speaks to long-term low allocation. Tom Lee, institutional investors, while Farrell focuses on active, higher risk crypto portfolios, which is more realistic. LMFG, what's your take on Sean Farrell's?
Yeah, more realistic, but too pessimistic for me. 80. Let 80 be the floor. Remember, the lower the floor, the less height you're going to get once it does bounce. It's that simple, you know what I mean? If it goes down to 60, when it does bounce, it may only get back to 120 and before it starts consolidating again, you know?
Yeah.
That's my outlook. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we do know, once Japan does hike the rates one more time, again, their cap is 150 basis points. They only, how far did they go so far? I think, 50 basis points, I believe? 75, I think it is.
Yeah, they're at 70. I believe they're at 75 right now.
So they got a lot to go. But, 12 months to get to 150 basis points. That's going to be crazy. So that's going to affect the movement. I don't know if Sean is factoring that in. I know Tom Lee doesn't give a damn. Tom Lee doesn't care about that. He's all over the place. He's heavily underwater in his in the Ethereum situation, monetarily and with his predictions. But I think Sean is nailing it with his prediction. Now, this is a tweet from Woo Blockchain. According to the at 4AB, Tom Lee's fund Fundstrat stated in its latest 2026 cryptocurrency strategy advice meeting to internal clients that a significant correction is expected in the first half of the year, completely contradicting what Tom Lee had said and what I just read. So, and then we just read Sean's quote as well. Brad Garlinghouse, listen to this. At the Binance Blockchain meeting week in December 2025, just recently, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse predicted Bitcoin could hit 180,000 by the end of 2026. Sharing the stage with Solana Foundation President Lily Luau, I think it is, offered a more conservative view on her stage, saying that Bitcoin could trade above 100K. While Binance CEO Richard Tang declined to give a number, but said prices would be higher than today, unquote. So he played the safe route. So you had a Solana Foundation President, Lily saying basically 100K is going to be her ceiling. Brad Garlinghouse said by the end of it, we're talking December 2026, he's saying $180,000 Bitcoin. That's kind of what you were saying. 175, I believe, is what you said. Which one are you agreeing with here?
Yeah, I'd say at the end of it, but that's all I say is 3 to 6 months after the Clarity Act. I'd say $180. Yes, that's $175. That area, even go to 150 to 175. 3 to 6 months after the Clarity Act. We'll see.
JP Morgan chimed in around that. And I don't agree with none of this. These 6 figures, not with what's going on and what we're about to get into with this Clarity Act. I just don't see it 6 figures. Something extraordinary has to happen, and I don't think. I don't know. They're gonna have to stimulate the economy. I know we have the dividend payments coming out next year, and they may do we're supposed to have some pretty large tax refunds for American tax refunds. I get that, but a lot of people, I don't think they're gonna lay that into Bitcoin. I think they're just gonna go buy food and pay bills and things of that nature. Get ready for the incoming recession. I think that's what they're going to do. I don't think a lot of it is going to flood. Now, when it comes to these injections, I think the Fed injected more injections. I think in the last 3 weeks, they've injected over 100 million, I believe, pretty close to $50 billion already. These injections will take 6 months to actually provide liquidity for the space, 6 months to a year. So it's going to be a little bit of a delay, guys, with the injections. But when it comes to the stimulus, I don't know. Trump says he has some surprises up his sleeve for 2026 when it comes to stimulating the economy. I know most DGens are going to go right into the space. I get it. But, institutions are waiting on the checker flag, which is the Clarity Act. Now, JP Morgan, they chimed in as well. JP Morgan digital asset team led by Nicholas, Mr. P. I'm calling him Mr. P. That last name, I cannot say that. Pangatorius, Zigalois. I'm not even going to, excuse me for butchering that, but Nicholas has basically said this is going to be JP Morgan's digital asset team leader. He pegs Bitcoin volatility and adjusted for fair value near $170,000, guys. And this is with the actual adjusted volatility, which is crazy to me. Using a BTC to gold relative valuation model, this is what they're doing. The New York-based investment bank frames this as a theoretically upper bound situation, not a year-end target, signaling upside potential over the next 6 to 12 months rather than a guaranteed destination. So The JP Morgan thing is all over the place. What's your take on that? And they actually used a Bitcoin to go relative evaluation model on this, and they're pegging this for the next 12 months to get up to 170. I think these are ridiculous.
That means gold would be at what, $6,000, maybe $7,000?
I believe so.
Right?
I believe so.
I don't know about that.
Now, gold is moving,
It'll be ugly. Same thing with silver. And you see Musk, he's flipping out about the silver because it's needed for everything.
Yeah.
And again, it's mineable, Yeah, I think China mines most of it, right? Taiwan a lot.
Yeah, you got a lot of it across the pond is being mined, and I'm pretty sure Elon flipped his wig when he saw it get really close to $100. Because and see, this is a lot. Listen, I'm glad you brought that up. That completely alters the business model. That completely alters the budget when silver gets really close to $100. So a lot of people are freaking out because industrially it is used heavily along with copper, right? So when these metals spike, it's not good for business. It's really not good for business. So that was crazy. And then you seen them pull the plug. You seen a major bullion bank go under because of what's going on with silver. It's very interesting. A lot of people aren't. Actually, I got to tell you a story about one of these local guys that's pretty close to me. This was crazy. Because Tracy told me this story, shared this at work, and she was telling me about this guy that had a lot of silver. He couldn't redeem it. His bank basically told him they didn't have the money, LMFG. They didn't have the money to do the transfer from silver to fiat. So he couldn't take it to his bank. They refused the transfer because he had a lot. He seen it spiking. He wanted to convert that into fiat. I don't know which bank this is, and I don't want to put him out on blast. Even if I did, I wouldn't say that. But the LMFG, the banks, and a nice guy says he pronounced it a bullion like it was a chicken. You know what I'm talking about, dude. You know what I'm talking about. Do you find that interesting that these particular banks are turning down silver conversion? They don't have the money. Literally said this. This is what came out of the bank manager's mouth. They don't have the money. They don't have the funds to convert that and to give you fiat for your silver. They said no. Do you find that interesting?
Yeah, and this was just at a single branch? Or
this is a local branch.
Yeah. All right. For that, how much money was he trying to withdraw out of it?
It had to be a considerable amount for them to say no.
Yeah, but then they should have said they do half or do a quarter or whatever he was looking for. And most banks don't have the cash in them. When they get cash, they just dump it. They get it out of there. They're not hoarding the cash, and that's a problem. Yeah, it's not good. I'll tell you that much.
Listen.
But if it's a huge amount, then he should just be going to a corporate. Going corporately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we definitely have those large institutions in the Metroplex down in Dallas and Fort Worth, Texas. But you would think that this would be able to, I'm surprised the guy didn't go to a pawn shop. Most people just go to a pawn shop, right? And get just pawn the silver, whatever. I've seen a lot of people do that. Pawn shops usually carry pretty good large amounts of money. They do a lot of metal trades. Or you have jewelry stores that will actually take your gold and silver as well. So I'm surprised he didn't go that route, because I know of jewelry stores that actually get flash loans just to buy your metals. I know that happens. I've seen that happen before. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. And I think it just expands on the liquidity crisis that we have here. The Fed has been injecting a lot of money into the banking system. So, and I think that's why these banks are saying it. We don't have it. We don't have it. And what are we going to do with it? We don't have it. And then you've seen silver just completely catastrophically dump all the way back to 71 after it was eclipsing $90. What happened there? Very interesting. So I digress. Let's get back to these predictions because we're getting too far into that conspiratorial round. So, I like the conspiracies. I love that. But we need to get back to this. Cut that. Standard Charter. Let's get back to it. Now, this is pretty crazy. Standard Charter, once among Bitcoin's loudest bulls. Standard Charter has dramatically cut its forecast down from $300,000 Bitcoin ceiling to $150,000. So this six-figure mantra, this theme continues, even with Standard Charter. Now, The bank now expects BTC to reach $150,000 within 2026. It doesn't say when, but it says in 2026, roughly half its prior projection. So they did come back down a lot. The revision reflects slow ETF inflow, which I already told you guys, out the back door profusely. It did slow down, but it's still going out the back door. Fading demand catalyst, which is not good, and broader market weakness. While the banks remain bullish long term, it believes Bitcoin's timeline has stretched. Here's another realistic, I don't think the price point is realistic, but this outlook, this reconfigured, outlook of Bitcoin's actual future, I think this is more realistic as well. What do you take on the Standard Charter take on this?
Yeah, again, to me, we'll see. I mean, I think all of them, and remember, they were at, like Saylor and Wood, $2 million. Even by 2030, I don't see that happening. Yeah. It'll get up there. Some of the volatility will get chilled out. I think they're going to go after the AMMs with the, with the Clarity Act, all of that stuff. We'll see. Again, $150 sounds good to me. 3 to 6 months after the Clarity Act, I'm going to stick with that number. Around $7 trillion in crypto as a whole. Can't wait for it.
It's interesting that you brought up that Clarity Act coming down on the market makers, because that is exactly what's in the language. Now, everybody, this is an argument I get into. How can you regulate DeFi? It's code. It's decentralized finance, Mike. It's DeFi. Decentralized finance. What are you talking about? How can you regulate DeFi? That's impossible. It's not impossible. And they've actually figured it out. And we're not going to like it. And that's a whole nother video I'm going to get into, because that's crazy what Elizabeth Warren is writing up. And she's getting co-signed. It's even some Republicans that are on board with this regulation of DeFi. And we all know they don't really understand the space. They don't really understand blockchain. They don't really understand DeFi. But it's one thing that the banks understand, is that yield is absolutely amazing, and they want our yield. They want your stablecoin yield. They want the yield that you get with the synthetic tokens. The banks want that, and they're lobbying for that very, very hard. Now, Bernstein, let's get into this one. This is pretty interesting. Bernstein sees Bitcoin. Here's the 6-figure mantra again. Bitcoin reaching 150,000 in 2026, driven by institutional capital and spot ETF inflows. The firms believe Bitcoin is no longer bound by traditional 4-year halvings. This is interesting. And I'm going to say this again. The firm believes Bitcoin is no longer bound by the traditional 4-year halving cycle, instead entering an extended institutional bull phase. I believe this so wholeheartedly. Long term, it maintains far more aggressive targets, including $1 million by 2033. LMFG. Pretty bullish, but I subscribe to the cycles being dead. The altcoin season, all that's dead. Meme cycle, that's dead. The traditional 4-year halving cycle. This is interesting. That being a bifurcated situation. What's your take on that? Because I thought this take was the most interesting out of all.
Right. And I said that a while ago. I said, if Bitcoin doesn't maintain a high dollar, what's going to happen to the miners? So definitely the 4-year halving cycle is history. We just seen the last one, and it really didn't do what the others have. So
it did not.
It's already started, and so the next one's even going to be worse, right? Then you go down to 3.2. I mean 1.5. Yeah.
The rewards. Yeah. How? It's getting nasty.
60 grand. You spend $100,000 that month just to get that one. If you get that one block, you know what I mean? It'll be a losing proposition. Who's going to be able to hang in there?
No, absolutely. You have Bitmine, which is one of the largest, Bitcoin miner distributors. They just cut their prices in half. They know what's coming, and they sell the most miners to conglomerates and individuals by far across the globe, right, across the planet. And they just cut their prices in half because they see what's coming. Because these miners are not making money like they used to. And when you get another halving, look out. So this particular Bernstein, I agree with this big time. There's going to be a major squeeze at the end of the day. And we'll see how this works out. I don't think it's going to be a catastrophic end to things, right? But I think we're going into a new paradigm. We're going into new dynamical phases. Cycles are dead, right? New paradigm, guys. Think new dynamics, institutional inflow, ETFs, Clarity Act, Market Structure Bill Act, antiquated financial systems that are going to be landing on chain. Everything is changing, Within the next 3 years, who knows, man? Who knows? And I told you guys earlier about the brick and mortar decentralized applications actually becoming real world brick and mortar buildings. That report was crazy. And the examples were even crazier if you really think about it, where we're headed here. Now, you have BSTR. It's going to be Catherine Dowling. She's going to be the president of this particular reserve firm. She's saying the same thing, essentially. We're talking about $150,000 by the end of 2026, kind of along the lines of Brad Garlinghouse. Now, here's the bullet points here. Clear U.S. crypto regulation. Obviously, we need that. This is an ongoing mantra. We need that. A shift towards a looser monetary policy, rate cuts, end of QT. We did get that. And I think Trump is actually trying to fire Jerome Powell again. He's literally suing Jerome Powell. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. It says it's the most money ever spent on per square foot of any building built in the world.
Oh my God. I cannot believe this, bro. You can't sue Jerome. Yeah,
he's going after him for incompetence or something. It's crazy. I don't think he'll get anywhere.
No, it's not. Absolutely. You can't sue the Fed. In fact, I think May is the term ends in May. And he's probably still going to be involved even when he leaves the Fed chair office. He's probably going to be recycled back in I don't think it's going to go away. He's not going to just go away and ride it into the sunset like Gary Gensler did. I think Gary Gensler is probably laughing his ass off right now. I think Gary Gensler is probably simply monetized somewhere, laughing his ass off. Hopefully, he's not laughing his ass off because he's sharing the pain too as well. And by the way, he's heavily invested in Bitcoin. Don't get it twisted. Growing Wall Street adoption of Bitcoin ETFs with just a 4% allocation. This is what Catherine is saying. This is what's needed. Now, Citigroup, $143,000 base case. This is what Citigroup is saying. And mind you, we're still in the six figures. We only had Sean Farrell that was like, we're going to go to 60, 65. He was the only guy with a more realistic approach here. All of these other, including Brad Garlinghouse, they're way out of the ballpark as far as I'm concerned when it comes to Bitcoin predictions. Citigroup, base case. Now, the bear case is going to be $78,000 LMFG. That's their bear case. So here we go. Now, Citi actually outlines three scenarios for a 62% upside from current levels near 88,000. This is where we're at now. Bull case, $189,000 if institutional retail demand accelerates. So there's a big if. That's a big if because economically, everything is on stilts. Everything is on stilts. A very shaky pier and beam situation that we have here with a lot of water, a lot of currents coming in. Now, you know what happens to those homes that were on the East Coast today when we had all those hurricanes and all those swells? They came tumbling down. So the turbulence is real. I think the bear case here with Citigroup is more feasible. LMFG, you said 75 there at 78.5K. Again, the bank red flags here is a key support level is 70K. So Sean Farrell and then you have Citigroup. I think they're probably the most realistic predictions here when it comes to Bitcoin by far. And I'm going to go ahead and say once again, 55 is my floor going into 2026, especially at the end of Q1, especially. Now, Arthur Hayes, you guys know Arthur Hayes. He's going to round this up. Arthur Hayes, $124,000 to $200,000 is his prediction. Crypto trader Arthur Hayes, which he's the guy that pumped Zcash and then dumped it. This guy is amazingly crazy. I don't know. In December 2026, he calls it the love language that says Bitcoin could break above roughly $124,000. And he's talking at the end of 2026 and further actually challenges a level of $200,000. This is what he said. So when you wrap all of these predictions up, I think Sean Farrell is probably going to be the most realistic prediction here. I believe we're probably going to go into 2026, guys. This is my prediction. Dropping down to around $65,000. And Sir says whenever Art speaks, tops are in. Yeah, absolutely. When he started chirping about Zcash, the thing was, I think it was pretty close to $700, I believe. And he dumped, it's on chain. He dumped Zcash so hard. He did the same thing to Monad as well. You got to watch out with this guy. You know, I'm not trying to talk down on him, but you got to watch out for Arthur Hayes. Watch out, especially if you're following him, you're doing some copy trading. Be careful. Be careful. So Sean Farrell's got my vote for the most realistic situation. LMFG, who's got your vote? I know you're not talking Tom Lee. Brad Garlinghouse, I know we're a Brad Garlinghouse fan, but I don't believe in his prediction as well. Sean Farrell is and Bernstein. They're the most realistic ones. I'm sorry, not Bernstein, but the base case Citigroup has laid out with 78,000. What do you think, man? And then we'll move on.
I'm with Citi.
You with Citi? Okay.
Yeah, I like those numbers.
Yeah, I guess I can agree with you on that. The base case with the
189, and like I said, $1.75 maybe. You know, so I say from 50 to $1.75, 3 to 6 months after the Clarity Act. And I just hope we don't see this $60,000. Man, it's gonna be a blood.
That's gonna be bearish, but I gotta tell you, bro, that's gonna introduce a lot of opportunities in a lot of altcoins sectors, especially within the RWA sector. It's going to allow a lot of people, a lot of smart investors, smart money, and small investors that don't have a lot of cash. They're going to be able to get some really nice bags. And this is a Warren Buffett thing. You buy in the red. Whenever there's red in the water, that's when the sharks come out. And I think, but actually, guys, you have to make sure that you are investing in the right sectors. I have to emphasize this. Make sure you're investing in something that's actually has a very vibrant development team. Make sure that investment does encompass product or an ecosystem that is viable, obviously, that is going to be able to be used going into the next 4 to 5 years, preferably in decentralized finance, RWA, tokenization of assets. Make sure there is some applicability there, right? And then you go for it because you're going to get your opportunities. Sir says, Q1 bloodbath, absolutely. March 20th, spring equinox will be the start of the bulls. New Fed chair in May, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree with that. I think he nailed it on that one, LMFG. Hand clap for that, sir. I like that. I think he may have nailed it. So March 20th, yeah, the Q1 bloodbath, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. You know, my floor is 55. I don't think it's going to go to 55 because of the ETF vehicles, unless they cave, which I don't think BlackRock is going to just completely dump Bitcoin. And I don't think Sailor's at that pinnacle as well. LMFG, I think that quote was dead on, man. I think it was dead on.
Rock and roll.
Dead on. Let's go ahead and get into this. So now, we got to get into this because this is absolutely relevant. Now, here's the talk of the town here. This is your boy, Paul Atkins, very ambitious new chair here. Crypto industry bets on SEC in 2026 as market structure bill slows to a crawl. Now, I told you guys, we're talking, the consensus is 2027 LMFG. That's not what we want to hear. That can completely crater everything going into 2026. If we get solid news. Now, a lot of the ex-posters, a lot of influencers, and there are some Fed officials that are saying everything is good. Crypto market structure bill, it's ready to go. Clarity Act, ready to go. It's a bunch of bullshit because when you really get into the nuances of it, it is not ready to go. And I don't really understand why a lot of influencers are perpetuating this lie of these bills being ready to go, but they're not. And I want to talk about this. This is the focal point of the show because this is the checker flag that all institutions are looking for. A lot of the builders are looking for this, especially the builders of the RWA infrastructure. The ones that are going to be using the facilitators for the marketplaces, tokenizing real estate, commodities, stocks, all that stuff. They are waiting on this and Congress is dropping the ball, guys. I got to tell you. Now, let's get into this. Now, I want to read a bulk of this because it's going to really, really break a lot of it. And we're going to, and I'll expand on a lot of this now. Let's go ahead and get into it. Stablecoin bill and 10 for financial regulatory factors and all-time highs. Now, the crypto industry got everything it wanted on their wish list. This is when Trump basically appeared on the Bitcoin expose. And he said, basically, I'm the crypto president. This is what you wanted. This is what you paid for. You're going to get what you paid for. Did we get what we paid for? I'm not sure. Well over $100 million put into this campaign. We got the president that we wanted. The crypto 2.0 choke point, that has been extinguished. A lot of the attacks on the cryptocurrency, including undo finance. No more issues there. XRP, no more issues there. Tornado Cash, a well-beloved mixer. No more issues there. All of those cases were dropped. We're getting the bulk of what we wanted, but we're not getting the movement of these bills. Now, if the landmark stablecoin legislation passed quickly this summer, getting market structure rules, often called the Clarity Act, across the line, continues to drag on. This is a headline here. Now, some industry members say it's too late. This is the actual consensus. Quote, this is going to be a quote from CEO of BCP Technologies. A lot of these big players are very pissed off about the lackluster effort to get these bills through. And mind you, there's a lot of lying on X and social media and on the news as well when it comes to the passage and the actual movement of this language. Now, here's a quote from some pretty big players about this whole situation. Quote, the optimal time for the Clarity Act to pass has already passed. Matt O'Connor, founder of fundraising platform Legion. This is what he told the actual interviewer. The time has already passed. We're so late on this. It's too late. Now, these rules this is basically the synopsis of how important the Crypto Clarity Act is. These particular rules will define whether cryptocurrencies are commodities or securities, which agencies would actually regulate them, and how. That would be far more impactful than the Genius Act, essentially, stablecoin bill. This is what a lot of the big players are saying. Why did we expedite the Genius Act, but leave out the most important language that was needed for the expedited values of not only these DApps, not only RWAs, tokenized assets, not only institutional growth, but adoption as well? Why are we dragging our feet on this? They don't understand. These big players, these builders, they didn't care about the Genius Act, but we all know why the Genius Act passed through, because we had a big time treasury bond issue. No one was buying them. Our government, the Fed, was buying our. We were buying our own debt at one time. I think they're still doing that, but I don't think we can continue to do that. That is not a sustainable situation. So the Genius Act had to be rammed through, literally. And there are some amendments that the banks want to. They're trying to take the yield, which you have Brian Armstrong, which is one of the co-founders of Coinbase. He's leading the charge against that, but he's the only guy that I see that is fighting for our yield. I don't hear anybody else talking about this on X. I don't hear any other founders that are behind this guy. All I see is, am I right, LMFG? I may be wrong. All I see is Brian Armstrong. That's it.
Yeah, you got to say kudos to him because he's hanging in there. I don't know if you heard Hoskinson a while ago. It was probably a month or two ago. Mm-hmm. You know, he spent a lot of money over the last 3-4 years going to DC. He had like 10 guys there at that one meeting. You know, so he flipped all the bill, and he just so disgusted. He said, with the French, you know, F him.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. I'm done. And he's touring all over the place next year. Like he's doing like 4 tours. One is like 5 different stops in Japan just in January coming here. And then a few months later, he's doing another one. So he's going out that route, saying to hell with him, you know. It's the same thing like what Garlinghouse said years ago. He says, you know, if they don't get their shit straight and they don't make any moves, we're just out of here. And we're going to leave San Francisco and going to go to Switzerland. Or there were so many countries saying, oh, come here. Yeah. You know, it's just ridiculous. And it's the banks. And like you said, it's the banks, man. You know, we keep saying, you know, Morgan and Fink, and it's not those guys, man.
No.
Those are puppeteers.
No, they're small players. The banks run all this shit. JP Morgan is the grandfather of all of the entire infrastructure. They run it all, and they want the yield.
Yeah, and Diamond's just a mouthpiece, you know.
Yeah, this was set in motion decades ago.
And don't get me wrong, I mean, think these guys are probably two of the smartest guys you ever met in your life, you know, or at least that I would ever meet in my life.
Within their respective sectors, they're not geniuses. They're not universal geniuses. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes, we have to be careful with that, you know, because, you know, in the respective areas, but they're not universal geniuses. I don't think anybody is. You have people that are proficient in certain areas, and you can call them geniuses within their respective areas and their expertise, but they're not universal geniuses. The only universal genius I ever known in my time and I studied was Nikola Tesla. You can argue Einstein was pretty much a universal genius as well, but I digress from that. We're getting off track here. Here's another quote by the CEO. It's impossible to go against the tsunami. You have to embrace it, unquote. Now, here's an additional fact of the crypto legislation, the Clarity Act. It would also provide clear guidance on how crypto firms are registered and how they're perceived versus the actual movement of the company's operative legal scale. So again, your identity matters, but they don't even know what they're classified as, right? For institutions still waiting for a green light, the bill would be a checkered flag. Now, if it doesn't pass in the first half of the year, this is the deadline, which is already passed. I think it's already passed because they're already moving the goalpost to 2027, guys. The Clarity Act success hinges heavily on the outcome of the U.S. midterm elections next winter. So, LMFG, here we go. We were talking about midterms. Now, if they don't get this to President Trump's desk before next winter, I don't think it's ever going to pass, bro, because I don't think midterms, now we're way ahead of the goal post here when it comes to midterms. It's not looking good, bro, for a dominant Republican-led situation. It's really, if you look at the preliminaries, there's some weird shit going on. So I think they need to get this done in Q1. If we can't get it done in Q1, you get too late into the year and the midterms roll around, they're going to have some issues with getting this bill through. Because we already know what Elizabeth Warren is chirping. A lot of Democrats do not like crypto. They don't like blockchain. They are for the banks taking over. They like the antiquated system. I think it's a big problem, bro. I could be wrong.
No, you are right. And you got to realize the one amendment is any president and his immediate family cannot be involved with crypto. That's one of the amendments in that Clarity Act. So you think if it goes through, he's going to sign it? No, he's going to kick it right back to him.
No, absolutely.
But 2027, that would suck. They got to do something. They got to get this done, like you said, first quarter. This is crazy.
Here's this is the last quote, guys. Now, and this is the one that really shook me. Now, whether it happens at all will depend on how the midterms go. This is crazy. So again, guys, we're talking well into 2026. So what you're seeing on X is a lot of engagement for me. That these two bills are not ready. And they're not going to hit President Trump's desk anytime soon. So everybody's lying just for engagement, just perpetuating bullshit. I'm going to tell you the truth. Now, whether it happens at all will depend on how the midterms go, and with the odds being that a solution passing both houses will be harder to arrive at if Democrats control one of the chambers. This is what I'm talking about. Unquote. Bill Hughes is going to be the director of global regulatory matters at Consensus. This is what was told. Now, here's another quote here to end this up. If Republicans retain both chambers, let's say the midterms go well, then the market structure legislation would be extraordinarily likely in 2027. This is the true consensus. This is what's happening, guys. So the Clarity Act has been delayed. We're not getting that anytime soon. Market structure bill, delayed. They run in tandem. So, it is what it is. Now, executively, I don't know how much Donald Trump can do on his end to actually expedite this and to actually move this forward when it comes to the nuances, some of the core features, the more important features that are that proverbial checkered flag. I don't know exactly. I don't know if he could do that, if he can write that until I don't think he can. LMFG, I may be wrong. Is there something he can do to kind of prevent this delay? Because as I'm reading, and there's just not this particular article, a lot of this rhetoric is running parallel. Is there something he can do on an executive level to push this Maybe just a couple of rules. I don't know. Is that even possible?
Yeah, I don't see it. It would be an outside executive order for one thing or another, and then they'd wind up taking them to court, and it wouldn't be worth it. It really wouldn't. They gotta just tweak the amendments and straighten this out. They do their jobs, you know what I mean? It's just stupid. And at the same time, like I keep saying, it's the banks, the Disney trips, kick this down the road as long as they can. I'm sure JP Morgan's blockchain isn't running. You got BIS now trying to build a blockchain, and they don't want anything running or any regulations here in the States until after they get their shit together. That's all I'm thinking. And it's ugly. These politicians, you know what I think there? We get some pretty nasty French going.
Yeah, they're a bunch of scumbags, man. I see Bartha 1000 says Paul Atkins is the #1 advocate for Clarity Act passing. He is not an influencer. No, yeah, but Paul Atkins has been telling a lot of lies, Bartha. He's been telling a lot of lies, and I think he's been fed those lies to kind of perpetuate the notion. But I got to tell you, bro, this language is not going anywhere anytime soon. So when I see Paul Atkins on X, when I see him on MSNBC, when I see him on these publications, basically saying that everything is ready and it's going to hit Donald Trump's office, when he knows damn well there is a wall in place, that bothers me. That really bothers me. What are we doing? Why just tell the truth? Why not just tell the truth? I think we can handle it. We're all, big boys and girls here. Now, Lori says martial law, financial martial law, World War III trigger could change matters, man. You know what? That war thing, you know what? The war thing is very interesting. That's a whole nother show. But if we, and I think it could really break out in the Caribbean, in the Gulf. That's really, really close to the country. That's like the belly of the country. I think if it does happen, it's going to be the Venezuela thing that just goes absolutely bonkers. But I digress from that. But that's interesting, Lori Watson. That could trigger changes pretty quick. Now, Bart says, if the Clarity Act does not pass, we are in trouble as this is a national security. Absolutely. LMFG. What's your take on that comment? That's interesting because we've heard Trump say this, that this is a national security issue. We need to get this through.
Agreed, 100%. I mean, look at all the countries where it's running already and working, and they have all their laws in place. Look at Japan, Switzerland. I mean, you can go on and on. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy. Silver back up. Yeah, silver is doing, but silver being up really close to $90 is very scary because that's signaling, that's a great barometer, and it's telling you the liquidity crisis is crazy, out of control. This is why the metals are spiking. Elon doesn't like it. Gold is going crazy. China is buying so much gold right now. So much gold. But I digress from that. It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time. Now, I want to get into this this new scam, man. Watch out. Absolutely. Barth, welcome to the show too, man. Happy to see you guys. Welcome to everybody that's in the show. The SEC filed a pretty scathing report about a WhatsApp crypto investment club. And there's multiple ones, not only on WhatsApp, but on the Telegram. And you got to watch out for this. It's AI driven. Now, these are AI scams. These scammers are using AI and the AI is creating a website. It's actually talking to the actual victims, creating fake transactions, fake chart readouts. They're using AI in ways that I've never thought that a scammer could use AI to actually steal funds. We're talking millions of dollars, $14 million fraud that was actually shut down. Now, you know what? Let's get into the nuances of it because you guys need to know. By far, it's really hard for me to believe that anybody will fall for this, but you have a lot of people that are losing millions of dollars because of these particular scams. And there's a 5-step playbook that you need to be aware of, guys. So if you see any of this that is occurring within your TG, or if you get kind of weird messages in your WhatsApp, if any of this pops out or is familiar to you, stay away. Because they're not only after your crypto, but they're after your ID. And once they get that, it's a wrap, right? Now, the complaint reads like a manual. It really does. Now, and the structure is clean enough to serve as a warning, checklist. Now, here we go. The first step of this scam, guys, be mindful of this. I'm gonna run through this pretty quick before we get to the member giveaway. The first step considers or consists of social ads and WhatsApp clubs. According to the SEC, AI Wealth is one of them. Lane Wealth is another. Look for, jot this down. AIIEF is an acronym for another scam that's predominant on WhatsApps. And these are kind of clubs that are actually on TG as well. They're running parallel on TG as well. Zenith is another one as well. These are advertised on social media, and then they run the investment clubs on WhatsApp. So they kind of filter you and direct you towards WhatsApp or Telegram to perpetuate the scam and to take your money. Now, this is going to be fronted by a professional or an assistant persona in each group, which is going to be AI. You're not going to be talking to anybody but AI. These are AI. It's probably one dude in his mom's basement that using AI to simultaneously run all of these particular scams at once. It's crazy what they're using AI for. Now, the groups give the appearance of exclusive access to expert guidance, a technique now commonly known or enough as investor.gov. These guys are impersonating government websites. They're using AI to build government websites. And these websites, I've seen some of them, they're active. Even the charts look real. Okay. Be very mindful of this. Now, this has issued specific alerts and warnings throughout. And I think the SEC is issuing these warnings at this point in time that unsolicited investment clubs in these messaging apps are a primary gateway for scams, guys. Now, second step, this is the second step to this. They start an AI signal or curated screenshots or channel. And we're talking call channels. Be mindful and beware of call channels that seem weird, that pop up in your social. You get these invites to these call channels, just ignore them unless you know what's up. You get these call channel invites in your TG and your DM or your X or whatever, ignore them. In your WhatsApp, ignore them. If you didn't invite yourself or if you didn't seek for these and you're just getting these random invites to these call channels and these signal AI, ignore them. That's the red flag. If you're not looking for it and it just pops up, leave it alone, guys, because you're going to end up getting scammed. Now, in these particular chats, if you are involved, the professors or AI allegedly promises high returns from AI generated trade signals and shared screenshots of supposedly successful trades to build trust. Now, the complaint says that they falsely held themselves out as financial professionals and claim to use proprietary AI software for stocks and crypto tips. This is what they do to get you in. The SEC also said that the AI fraud alert notes that scammers now use AI to generate fake websites, screenshots, and even deep fake videos to sell bogus investments and impersonate professionals, which is precisely the approach that the complaints describe. This is what the complaints that have been scammed. They actually describe the deep fakes. They look absolutely fantastic. They're extremely believable. They look like professionals and they impersonate people that you probably see and you probably already follow. This is crazy stuff, man.
Hey, not to interrupt you. I got to drop off here, but
okay. Go
everybody
ahead,
be safe. Happy New Year. Rock and roll, man.
I appreciate you, brother. And a hand clap to you, brother. We're gonna round this up. I just want to get this awareness out. Thank you, brother, for coming.
You're good, man.
Absolutely. I wanted to get this awareness out. Now, the third step of this scam is the funnel effect. Now, the third step funnels the fake license platform. Once investors are primed and ready to go, they got you pumped up thinking you're going to make a lot of money. You already invested thousands of dollars. They're showing you these fake returns with AI, right? The club steers them to then, after the pump up, to trading platforms. And these are some of the ones that have come up in this report. Coin is one of them, Burge. And then Secure is going to be CIRKOR. These are three of the predominant ones that the people are funneled in within this report. Now, the SEC says also these sites claim to have government licensing as well and security protection. But in reality, there is no actual trading. It's all automated by AI, and all of the accounts are fabricated. This is this is far beyond a book butchering. This is some new shit. All right. Now, the platform alleges reference supposed regulatory investigations to add credibility. So they say that they're SEC friendly, right? They give you these false sense of security. This is a tactic that you see on investor.govs, which has basically paused that fake investor.gov website. It's already paused and it's been red flagged, so it's already down. Now, after all of this, the phishing begins. The phishing of fictitious STOs was the actual last step. This is what really gets everybody. The next escalation is security token offerings in the names of NNET, SCT, and HMB, which one of the predominant tickers that they use. This is going to be marketed as if they were regulated by IPO style offerings by real companies such as NeuroNet and Satcomtech. So the complaint really goes into depth on these steps. It's even more vast, guys. And the only reason why I want to really jump into this before we get to the member giveaways is because you need to be very careful with your money going into 2026. It's not just about phishing. It's not just about NFTs and weird NFTs and coins that come into your wallet. We're talking about AI. They're using artificial intelligence to scam you, to bring you into these call groups, and to give you fictitious websites, fictitious earnings. I mean, they're building out platforms like as if they were actually linked to nodes and to these reporting agencies, which they're not. This AI, it's crazy what you can build with AI at this point in time. It looks so real. And then they're literally impersonating figures and individuals that actually exist, that are investor gurus, and they're impersonating. I can't believe anybody will fall for this, but unfortunately, $14 million have already been lifted. $14+ million already within the year, within an 8-month period. So, and this is just one that was shut down. So just be mindful of the scam activity, protect your wallet, and always be good with that. Now, Lori says, I'm waiting, holding until things settle. I think that's a smart way. I've actually consolidated into a USDC and I'm getting yield. I always say that. I am invested in some chain activity as well because I like what they're doing with RWAs. You know, they have a nice RWA foundation for tokenized assets going forward. So I'm heavily invested in those chains that are going to be facilitating RWAs and tokenized assets. I think that is the way to go. This is where we're headed. They're going to tokenize everything. So look for the chains, you know, like Monad, Ondu. Chain is going to be reconfiguring as well. Be keeping an eye out on Chain as well. They're doing some reconfiguring, getting ready for the new wave as well. AVAX, you know, there's a lot more H-bar. I love what ADA is doing, even though Charles Hoskinson has went dark. I was going to talk about that. He's upset with X. He's upset with everybody that continues to make fun of him. He's tired of it. So he's moving into the Discord. So if you don't see Charles Hoskinson chirping away on X, it's because his account is automated. He's going to turn the AI on, and you'll be able to find him in the Discord, in the midnight Discord. This is what he's saying, and on his YouTube channel. So he's going to go dark. He's tired of the space. He's tired of the trolling, which is pretty unfortunate. But this is what's happening right now. Everybody's very scared about what's going on. As we segue into the market here, let's go ahead and get a good snapshot before we get into this video. I'm sorry, get into the member video. Giveaway. We do a giveaway every Monday, guys. We give away cash. We'll give away Solana to 3 winners in the member group. All you have to do is interact with the member content. I take your comments, put them on the wheel, and we spin that wheel 3 times, and we get 3 winners. We're about to do that here in a little bit. And we do it every month. So you have to be a member, get your membership, and enjoy the content. And every Monday we'll pick winners off the comment section of those member videos. Now, Bitcoin, $88,000. It is consolidating pretty beautifully, actually. It's actually up just a tad bit, but this hard consolidatory effort of Bitcoin is attributed to ETFs, guys, and institutional flow. A lot of the shrimps, a lot of the lower level retail investors are out. They're gone. They've cashed out. So we have an ETF floor that's pretty robust. If you really want to really want me to put emphasis on it, even though you're seeing some really robust selling, the ETFs continue to hold this floor at $88,000. Now, we did get up to 90K recently, but we did see a sell-off, and I think that's just liquidity. That's just the way liquidity is moving when it comes to Bitcoin. But we are sitting at 88,000. I don't think we're going to get to 90,000 this week because we still have to wait on Jerome Powell, and I think he's actually speaking to that. We'll get some data on that here later. $2,900 for Ethereum. We do have BNB sitting at $858. XRP is at $1.87. $1.87, soon to be $2 soon, and then you're going to see another sell-off because the whales are selling XRP. Unfortunately, they're going to continue to sell until we get some bearish movement going into 2026. It's unfortunate. You see the same thing happening with Solana as well. By the way, there's a huge lawsuit that's going to be putting the dampers on Solana going into 2026. The Burdock Law Group, they're coming hardcore for Solana, and it has a lot to do with the pump.fund situation, which they're basically ending 2025 with a huge win. I was going to get into that, who actually made the most money this year. The perpetual exchanges are by far, they finished strong, number one, but pump.fund was one of the most, and this is not a surprise to anybody, but pump.fund made the most money up until the perps started eclipsing it. And a lot of the pump.fund situation, a lot of it had to do with the unlocks. A lot of that had to do with the unlocks, and a lot of the money has been sold by the team, but that has subsided since January. They are not the top earners. The perpetual exchanges like Hyperliquid, where you have the newcomer with Aster, they are making money like crazy. They are the top revenue bringers. I was going to get deep into that, but I don't have time because there's other sectors that are making a lot of money. Stable coins, when it comes to Tether and Circle, 75% of the actual revenue that was generated in 2025 was Circle and Tether. Crazy numbers with the perps though. Crazy how the perpetual exchanges have actually overtaken pump.fund. And I'm talking about on a combined effort. It's pretty interesting what's going on. So Solana, look out for the lawsuits. I don't know what this is going to do to Solana. I know they got to pay out $75 million from a recent judgment, but this class action is going to be a big problem going forward. So we'll see how that goes in 2026. Tron is 28 cents, guys, up across the board. Dogecoin 12 cents. We have Cardano 35 cents, which is crazy. It was 80 cents. It was almost $1. I think it did eclipse $1. I think 4 months ago, but we're down to 35 cents. That's pissing off a lot of the ADA whales. And then you have midnight. There's some bifurcation there. We got two chains going, so we don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know. I wish I had LMFG still on to explain that to me, but I have to do some research because there's a bifurcated effort here. ADA, midnight, what's going on? Bitcoin Cash, $594, still failing to capture the full value of Bitcoin. I don't think it ever will. Hyperliquid, we talked about that, one of those perp exchanges that are making a lot of money this year. Ending the year in the green. Chainlink, $12 is a great buy for Chainlink. Get to know what's going on with that. And then we'll round it up with Zcash, $533. An OG privacy protocol. That is the market. Let's get into this giveaway so we can get out of here. So I'm going to check to make sure I got everybody on the wheel. I don't want to miss anybody. I'm going to flip over to the channel, and I'm going to make sure I got everybody on the wheel. I'm going to do another check on this, and then we'll get out of here. Okay, so it looks like I got to put Rami on the wheel, and then we'll be able to spend it. We'll be able to spend this well and spend some Solana. All right, so we have populated the wheel with all the contestants that are eligible for the giveaway, and hand clap to the member group. Let's go ahead and get us a real decent spin here. I hope you guys like the jazz, man. I'm in the jazz mood. I've been in a jazz mood for like 2 weeks. I love the jazz music. Let's go. All right, so it looks like it's going to be Mac Yank. That's what it's looking like. Mac Yank 5999. That was pretty close. I just put, and it's crazy because I just put Rami on the wheel and Rami almost won. So that was a pretty close one. So let's go ahead and get another one. We're going to put Matt Yank in the winners group there. All right, so it looks like it's going to be crypto for retire. I think he's going to squeak this out. I'm going to go ahead and call it. La La Land is right there. No. I stand corrected. I stand corrected on that. So it's La La Land 786. That was a really close one. Crypto for retire. You almost got that. We need one more winner. I think it's going to be Olivia. I'm going to go ahead and call it. Crypto Priest is coming up really quick, though. Let's see here. So it's Olivia. Hand clap to the winners, and I want to let's go ahead and read them out again. So we have Mac Yank 5999 is going to be the first winner. Congratulations to you, sir. All I need is that Solana. You guys know how to get in touch with me, Solana, and yeah, we'll get that to you. Now, La La Land 786 is going to be the second winner. Hand clap to you. And to round it up, we have Olivia 25-08M. Hand clap to the winners. Absolutely. Like I say every time we end the show, guys, be mindful of what's going on with your wallet. Practice safe wallet tactics, guys. Be mindful of the scams and just chill, right? This market is going to do what it's going to do. We have a lot of language that needs to be passed through. We're probably not going to get it in the first quarter or second quarter, so it's going to be volatile. I think the ETFs are going to continue to hold this floor at 88. I don't think we're going to go to 60. Not yet, right? So ETFs. Let's pray that they continue to hold, and we'll see what happens in 2026. All right, take it easy, and we'll catch you on the next show.